Hey everyone, this is William here at Allegory Gallery, and I'm here with Jenn Tuschong, and she is going to show us how to make some lovely earrings today with some of our newest vintage plastic. So let's go ahead and take a look. Hello, Jenn.
Hi.
So why don't you tell us what we're going to be making today?
Today we're going to be using some of our vintage plastic, some of our new stuff, and we're going to make some fun little simple wire earrings.
Let's take a look at these here. Here we go. Look how fun those are. I love those. And I see down here you've made some alternates as well.
Yep, these ones, there's no big pieces in there. They're just little microfaceted beads.
So once you learn this technique, you can go a little bit crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Okay.
So how do we start?
Well, we're going to use memory wire just because it's going to hold its shape a little bit more. You can use regular spool wire, but you're going to have to form it on something. So just because of the durability, we are going to use the memory wire. And first thing you need to do is just cut 1 circle's worth. And then we're going to need to make it able to be a little earring. I guess you could also use them as wine glass markers. So we're going to need to form that little loop. So I'm going to take a round nose plier. This one happens to be just multiple sizes. You're going to grab the memory wire by one end, as close to the end of that wire as you can. And memory wire is really hard to bend. So have fun with this one. I'm going to give it one little turn to the side. And then we're going to try to close that loop. Probably going to have to use flat nose pliers to go along with it. So there we go. We've got a little loop started. We're just going to close that up with the flat nose pliers. And then kind of straighten that out a little bit. Then we're going to take the other side, and you're just going to go in probably maybe about 3 millimeters and give that a little turn up. All right, so you can see now how you just put that little bend that you made through the loop, and it's going to close it up. So here you go, open and closed. Well, now you have your earrings made. We're going to beauty them up a little bit by adding some of our lovely vintage plastic. And we're going to add in some seed beads there too, just to give them a little bit more color and size difference. So we're going to load up our beads onto head pins.
And for those who are new to jewelry making, tell us what head pins are, Jenn.
Head pins are a finding that has a little flat spot to stop your beads from coming off the end, and you're gonna be able to load up any kind of beads that you want on there and then make a little loop and close them off so that it'll be your fabulous little dangle.
Great.
So let's get our beads here ready. I love these little purple guys. I think they're gonna be really fun. And the important thing when cutting your memory wire too is you want a nice thick cutter. They make actual cutters for wire memory wire. All right, so let's take our first head pin and put a bead on there, and that's not gonna fall off the end, so that's perfect. And now I'm just gonna, you know, kind of load up a few and see if that's what I like, to do more than one and where we want to space them. I think we're gonna do just 4 on each one of the earrings with the plastic. And then we'll fill in the rest of the little spaces with some seed beads, or you can use crystals, whatever you like, just a different colored bead, different size. I'm gonna space probably about 2 or 3 of them, I would say, in between each one, just to give it some spacing so that those vintage plastic ones are not sandwiched right next to one another. Don't worry if your head pins aren't perfectly straight. You're not going to need the whole thing. This is the time-consuming part. You can actually just pick up a group of head pins if you want and load them all up. That saves time. I think we're gonna go with 2 in between each one, so I just need to do 2 more.
And this is all kind of part of the process where we design as we go.
We design as we go. Sometimes we find variations in beads and they don't quite fit your original idea, and you have to alter it as you go. So I think this is going to be a nice, lovely little grouping here. And so we're ready to start bending our head pins. For that, we are going to take the round nose tool again. This one is multi, like I said, but you can use some that are just regular, one size fits all. Just make a little mark on there where each one is so that all of your loops are the same size. So for these, what I do is I put my finger on top of the bead and I give it about a 90-degree angle. And then I take my pliers right at that angle and I start twisting it around. And I'm gonna pull that tail around the rest of the way. And then I'm gonna make a little definitive indentation. You can see that I gave it a little bend right there. I think it just lays better when you do that. And now we're gonna take our flush cutters or our side cutters and we're gonna cut that tail right where it meets the other wire. So you have a little loop. And we're gonna do that on every single one. So let's show you that again. I'm holding the bead Giving that a 90-degree bend. Taking my pliers and I'm curling it around that plier to form a loop. Taking it off the tool. And I'm using my flesh cutters to cut the remaining wire that we didn't use right at that meeting point with the other side of the wire. Making the bend. Sticking our round nose in just above that bend. Curling it around. Grabbing the tail and bringing that the rest of the way around to complete the loop. And cutting it right where those two wires meet. Always hold on to that wire piece that's going to fly off. You don't want to lose an eye, and your friends don't want to lose an eye. So we're just going to repeat that on all the remaining pieces. And we'll see you back.
Okay, we're back, and Jen has wrapped all of these little beads, so let's go ahead and continue on with how we put everything together.
All right, so here's our last one. I just want to show you what I did to finish them each one off after I cut them all. You're going to have an open loop a little bit, so you want to close that loop so it's not going to fall off your earring or grab onto your clothes.
So you're just getting that really tight to the base wire there.
Yes, I'm just closing that loop. I'm not squeezing too much because it's easy to bend that wire out of shape and then it looks wonky and you don't like that.
We don't like wonky.
Nobody likes wonky. So here's all of my beads. I like to keep them in separate piles, or since we got a pattern going on, we're going to separate into twos, and we're going to put two in between every larger bead. So just take your memory wire earring base that you made, and if you want to make them smaller, that's all right, because we made that smaller there too. You're just going to clip it a little bit more and then kind of maybe have to shape it into a circle a little bit, but I kind of like big earrings so that they don't get lost in my hair. All right, so let's just start adding them on, and whichever way you start adding them on, like whether you go from the open side of the loop or the closed side of the loop, make sure you do that same side on every one, or else you're going to have some loops going one way, some loops going the other.
And that's wonky, and we know we don't like that.
We don't like wonky. Okay, so let's start feeding them on. In our pattern, we're going to do 2 of the seed beads, and then we're going to do 1 of the vintage plastic. My open end keeps turning. Okay, and then repeat the pattern.
So it's really that easy.
It's just that easy. It's a quick, fun little pair of earrings with so many different possibilities. And if you don't want to make another set of memory wire earrings, you could always just make a whole bunch of different beads and then swap them off whenever you feel like it. Or if you're traveling, all you have to do is bring your different beads instead of multiple pairs of earrings.
Oh, that's great. That's fun. Very interchangeable.
Yes. You can add some charms in there too. Possibilities are endless. Here come our last 2. Okay, and we're going to close it up. Just put that into your little loop, and there you go.
Wow.
Fun.
That's great. Let's see if we can get a closer view here. There we go. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jen.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon.